Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into something really big. It could fundamentally redefine Bitcoin, maybe even stablecoins as we know them.
Yeah, definitely.
You've sent us sources covering this upcoming launch that's making waves. USDT, the world's biggest stablecoin. It's set to go native on Bitcoin
Right.
using this innovative protocol called RGB. So our mission, like always, is to cut through the noise, pull out the key stuff from the material you sent, and give you a clear picture of what this integration means and, well, what it means for you and how you interact with crypto.
It really is more than just a headline. It feels like a landmark moment. People in crypto have talked for years about really integrating stable assets with Bitcoin. The most secure blockchain out there.
Mhm.
And this move by Tether, it kind of makes that vision real. It promises to massively expand what Bitcoin can do beyond just digital gold. It opens doors for, well, maybe mass adoption and definitely more financial efficiency.
Okay, so let's kick off with the big question. Why now? I mean, for anyone maybe just catching up, USDT, Tether USD, it's basically a digital dollar, right?
Exactly.
A stablecoin pegged to the US dollar, super important for quick, cheap transactions in crypto, and it's a huge market cap, over $100 billion, a real pillar of DeFi and trading.
Absolutely right. And just to give a sense of its scale, USDT already runs on big chains like Ethereum, that's the ERC20 version everyone knows, and Tron, the TRC20, even Solana.
Yeah.
The total supply across all these, it's well over $117 billion tokens now. Massive footprint.
And that's exactly what makes me wonder. It's already everywhere else, practically. So why bring it to Bitcoin? Bitcoin's always been seen as, digital gold, the store of value. Why try and shift that perception, bring a stablecoin right into its core? Feels like a big philosophical jump.
It is a big strategic shift, yeah, but it's really driven by clear market demand. What we're seeing, I think, is this growing need for blockchain solutions that can give you stability, privacy, and scalability, all in one secure package. And while Bitcoin is, incredibly dominant, super secure, it's always faced that criticism about limited functionality compared to, say, Ethereum with its smart contracts.
Yeah.
So this move isn't really about changing Bitcoin's core identity. It's more about adding to its capabilities,
Right.
using that incredible security as a foundation for stablecoins. Tether's basically saying, let's build on the strongest base we have.
Gotcha. And this is where the tech, RGB, comes in, which, by the way, stands for Really Good Bitcoin. Kind of playful name for some serious tech, huh?
Yeah, the name's a bit casual. But the protocol itself, definitely serious innovation.
Yeah.
RGB is essentially a smart contract system. It lets you issue and manage assets like stablecoins directly on Bitcoin.
Directly on Bitcoin and its scaling layer, the Lightning Network, right?
Exactly. And the really crucial part, it does this without needing any changes to Bitcoin's main code, its base protocol. It's a huge difference compared to things like ordinals or runes, which, write data directly onto the Bitcoin blockchain itself.
Okay, that is a key distinction. So how does it manage that without touching the main chain?
It uses something called client-side validation. It's a clever approach. Think of it like whispering a secret between two people instead of shouting it in a crowded room. With client-side validation, the details of your transaction, the smart contract stuff, it stays private, just between the people involved. They check it locally on their own devices.
So it doesn't get broadcast or stored forever on the main Bitcoin chain for everyone to see.
Precisely. That lines up really well with ideals like privacy and, financial sovereignty. Plus, it integrates smoothly with the Lightning Network.
Right, for speed and low costs.
Yeah, so transactions are private and super fast and cheap. That's a combo Bitcoin hasn't really offered natively for stablecoins before. And it builds on things like Taproot, that upgrade from 2021, which sort of quietly paved the way for more complex contracts on Bitcoin, making RGB feasible now.
That combination of privacy and speed on Bitcoin, that definitely changes the narrative. So with this tech, what's Tether's ultimate goal? What's the big vision here? Sounds like they want Bitcoin to be more than just digital gold.
Oh, absolutely. The vision is ambitious, multi-layered, really. First, it's about democratizing access, letting anyone with Bitcoin use USDT directly.
Without needing those risky bridges between chains.
Exactly. Avoiding bridges, avoiding external side chains. That cuts down security risks and transaction costs significantly. Second, it's a huge boost for Lightning Network adoption. Putting stablecoins there could supercharge real-world users shopping, remittances using Lightning's instant, practically free payments.
Makes sense.
Third, as we said, improved privacy and efficiency thanks to RGB's client-side validation. And finally, it's about expanding Bitcoin's role in DeFi, attracting developers, attracting users who maybe want an alternative to congested networks like Ethereum, positioning Bitcoin as a complete asset network.
A complete asset network. That's a bold ambition. If they manage it, that's a game changer. But let's get specific. What are the actual measurable goals? Not just the vision, but the targets.
Right. Connecting it to the bigger picture, the goals are pretty concrete, short term. We're looking at the launch happening probably in the coming months. Initial issuance will likely be controlled for testing. Early adopters will be the more advanced Bitcoin users.
Okay.
The key performance targets, though, they're aiming for sub-second confirmation times for USDT moving on Lightning.
Sub-second. Wow.
Yeah, with cost under a cent per transaction. I mean, compare that to current USDT transactions on Turon or Ethereum. It's a massive improvement in speed and cost for many use cases.
That's not just better, that's potentially disruptive.
Totally. Then, medium term, the aim is to grow USDT volume on Bitcoin significantly. They're hoping to capture maybe 10–20% of the current total USDT volume. It's clearly aimed at attracting financial institutions, too. They love Bitcoin security, but they need stable assets and efficient settlement.
Under a cent and sub-second. Okay. Any other sort of breakthrough features they're aiming for? Things that might surprise us?
Well, one really interesting one is offline payments.
Offline? How does that work?
Yeah. Imagine transferring USDT without needing an internet connection right at that moment. The transaction gets verified later when you reconnect. It uses something called pre-signed invoices. Think of it like a digital IOU you set up beforehand.
Okay, that could be huge for places with spotty internet.
Exactly. Perfect for regions with limited connectivity, really boosts financial inclusion. And then long-term, the aspiration is for RGB to become the go-to standard for stablecoins, maybe even NFTs, on Bitcoin.
Wow, NFTs on Bitcoin via RGB.
Potentially, yeah. Fostering a native Bitcoin DeFi ecosystem that could, maybe one day rival Ethereum's total value lock, TVL. Success metrics will be things like the number of RGB wallets, daily transaction volume, exchange integrations. Some projections even suggest this could boost Bitcoin's overall liquidity by like 15–25% in the next few years.
That paints a picture of Bitcoin as a really dynamic financial hub, not just a vault.
Yeah.
So practically, how does something this complex actually happen? How do they bring USDT onto Bitcoin with RGB? What's the process?
It's a meticulous process, as you expect. First, Tether has to work really closely with the RGB developers. They need to define the exact standards for issuing USDT on RGB, make sure it works perfectly with wallets people use, like Electrum or various Lightning wallets.
Okay.
Then, a super critical step, rigorous security audits. They need third-party experts to hammer on this thing, try to break it, find any potential flaws like double spending risks or vulnerabilities in those client-side smart contracts. It has to be incredibly robust.
Unnegotiable, I imagine.
Absolutely. Once it's deployed and audited, the idea is for the user experience to be smooth. You'd be able to mint, basically create new USDT directly on Bitcoin, probably by depositing Bitcoin or maybe fiat into Tether's reserves. Then you can just send and receive that USDT natively on Bitcoin, ideally over Lightning.
So, aiming for seamless and secure integration. We talked privacy, but what are the other big technical wins here?
Well, beyond the privacy boost from client-side validation, keeping those details off the main chain, the big one is immense scalability.
Through Lightning, right?
Exactly. Lightning Network allows for potentially millions of transactions per second, way beyond what Bitcoin's base layer can handle. And then there's that offline payment capability we mentioned, using those pre-signed invoices. Game changer for access. Some studies also suggest protocols like RGB, using client-side validation on top of Bitcoin's proof of work, might actually be more energy efficient and private compared to some proof-of-stake systems.
Interesting. So efficiency gains, too.
Potentially, yeah. Now, it might not offer the full anything-goes programmability of Ethereum, but you're trading that for Bitcoin's rock-solid security and this level of efficiency and privacy. Globally, this could really speed up adoption in emerging markets where Bitcoin's already used for remittances. And it could definitely attract institutional money USDT's stability plus Bitcoin security. That's a compelling mix.
It all sounds incredibly positive, almost too good to be true sometimes. But, crypto history is full of ambitious projects hitting roadblocks. So what are the potential pitfalls? What challenges need to be overcome for this to really take off?
Yeah, that raises a really important point. There are definitely significant hurdles. First, just technical adoption. RGB is still pretty new. It's complex tech.
So a steep learning curve for users and developers.
Could be, yeah. It might deter less technical users initially. And it requires major updates for wallets and exchanges to support it properly. That takes time and effort. Second, security risks. Any new protocol has them.
Even with audits.
Even with audits. The client-side model is novel. There might be unforeseen vulnerabilities that emerge only after widespread use, despite best efforts in testing. Rigorous ongoing auditing will be key.
And then there's the regulatory angle. Stablecoins are already under the microscope, and adding privacy features, that seems like it could attract attention.
Exactly. That's a huge one. USDT itself faces constant scrutiny over its reserves and transparency. Adding RGB's privacy features, while great for users, could definitely worry regulators.
Concerns about illicit finance, money laundering.
Precisely. Similar debates happen around other privacy coins. It bumps up against AML regulations. So navigating that will be tricky. Finally, there are also economic challenges. Competition could emerge from other stablecoins trying to launch natively on Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's own price swings, while USDT is stable, running it on a volatile network might affect perceptions for some users or institutions.
So it's not a guaranteed win.
No, definitely not. Overcoming these challenges needs more than just good tech. It needs the whole community working together, lots of education for users, and probably some evolution in how regulators view these kinds of systems. It's a big undertaking.
Well, this deep dive certainly paints a picture of something potentially revolutionary, far beyond just Bitcoin as digital gold. Launching USDT natively on Bitcoin via RGB, it feels like a really transformative step. Merging the biggest stablecoin with the most secure blockchain could strengthen the whole crypto ecosystem.
Yeah, I think so.
It expands Bitcoin's toolkit, bringing in stablecoins, potentially DeFi, while boosting privacy, scalability, accessibility. If they pull it off, if it's implemented successfully, this could genuinely kick off a new era where Bitcoin is a core hub for all sorts of digital financial assets, really benefiting millions worldwide.
What's truly fascinating to watch now is how this might fundamentally redraw the competitive lines between blockchains. It's a huge statement about Bitcoin's ability to evolve, isn't it? And it could really change how traditional finance starts to interact more deeply with decentralized tech.
Yeah.
This isn't just about moving USDT around, it's potentially validating a whole new range of possibilities for Bitcoin. So maybe the thought to leave you with is this. What kind of new applications, what new financial services do you think this unlocks? And how might this integration actually change your own personal financial world in the years ahead?